Hello and welcome to Two Tangled Skeins. I'm all by myself. As you may have noticed, I'm also at my house instead of at Sue's house, and I just realized that my mop bucket is on top of a bookshelf back there. But today is Saturday, February 18th, 2017, and this is episode 193. Sue has her daughter home for the weekend, so she's spending time with her, and Selma is on the road visiting her father out of town. So I'm basically it. It should be short and sweet because I don't have much to show you. I didn't get a lot of knitting time this week. I ended up with a weird stomach bug. I thought at first that it was either food poisoning or a food intolerance, and I was talking to my mom about an hour ago, and she says, oh yeah, Tuesday night, I was so sick, and then I couldn't get warm, and it was the weirdest thing. And I was like, that happened to me on Tuesday night. So it was a bug. And a few of us got it, so it was a little weird and not very pleasant, and it's been a hectic week. So you can find us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Ravelry, Instagram. Our blog is at twotangleskeins.com, and you can find us on Etsy as The Tangled Skeins CA is Sue's shop, Little Creek Designs is Selma's shop, and Schwartzcraft is my shop. Before we get into all the knitting stuff, I just wanted to give you a brief peek at what's available in my shop. I mean, Sue shows us the bags she's sewn, and Selma shows us the bags she's sewn. And while there's nothing of mine in the shop yet, and this is going to give away a little surprise, so expect to hear squeeing from the Myrtle Beach area. Sorry, I got it. I'll see if I can get a picture of the way I've got the camera set up right now to add to the end of the video, because this is the most hilarious thing ever. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take a picture of it right now because I totally forgot to put my phone on silent. So give me 2 seconds. I will take a picture. Nope, not me. Of the way I've got the camera set up. And I will add it at the end of the video, and you guys are going to laugh at me. Now, how do I... Airplane mode. That works. That way nobody will be able to call me. So the 3 items that are available in the shop right now, we actually have 5 listings, but that's because these are available in hard plastic or flexi plastic. The smaller items are. The sock blockers are not. They're only available in the heavier plastic because otherwise they snap. So the first thing that we have available is this little oval needle gauge that Rob has made. And it took a while for us to get the layout right. And he's got both US sizes and metric there, as you'll see. And yes, this one was a surprise for somebody, so now she knows. That's one of the items. This one, actually, I'm very proud of him for this because this is entirely his own design. He came up with this all by himself. Isn't that awesome? It's a needle gauge. And it's also, if you look up here, see that? It's not focusing, but that's because I have a crappy camera. This part here, between the little top ball and the big yarn ball, is exactly 1 inch. So this is also a wraps per inch gauge, which I thought was brilliant. And you can use either this one or this one for the wraps per inch gauge. It's got a hole in the top so that you can hang it from a string. So you can, I usually have it hanging off that shelf up there. And it also has the US and the metric sizes, up to 15. And you can get it engraved with your name, and you can get a little image up here. The Canada leaf didn't come out very well, so which is why we don't use this picture on the website. But it's a great little, I love this thing. And it's proven to be very popular. And then, of course, we have the sock blockers. We sold a pair of these to Cheryl of Caw Designs and put her logo here, and she loves them. For me, he did a cow because I used to collect black and white stuffed cows a long time ago before my daughter decided to steal all the stuffed cows. So those are my sock blockers. And yes, this is why we This was an experimental pair before we opened the shop. And this is why we don't offer the sock blockers in the flexi plastic. It's really hard to get a sock on this without snapping it. The heavier gauge plastic, no problem. But that one, a little squidgy. So on to knitting. I have no foes. None. I've had maybe 2 hours of knitting time this week. So, works in progress. I'll show you my blanket first. I got a whole 2 squares done on the blanket. And the blanket no longer lives in a project bag. It's gotten a little too big. And, fortunately, the blanket was on the table when this happened. My jerk of a cat, not the cute one that sits up here when I'm recording. My other cat, the jerk, the one who left a large puddle on my kitchen floor this morning. She likes to boot her water dish around during the night. So my kitchen was flooded this morning. Sorry. The tape gave out. I'm trying to fix this. I'm so sorry. The camera on my computer is really low quality. So I had a higher def webcam lying around, but I lost the little thing that it fits into to like keep it on the laptop. So it's being held up by painting tape, which is not the stickiest of stuff because it's the only tape I had in the house. Anyway, we'll get through this quickly. This square is an unknown. I don't know where it came from. I have a big ball of it. No idea. And this one is, sorry. I believe this actually came from somebody who came to a knit night once to trade minis and never came back. So I'm not sure what her name is. And I don't know what the yarn is. This one, however, I do know what it is. This is the last of my Kathy minis. This is Dragonfly Fibers. Don't remember the base now. Pixie. The Pixie Dust base or just Pixie base. And the color is Mermaid. So that's the last of my Kathy minis. And it's so soft. I need to get some Dragonfly Fibers now. And I see them every year at Rhinebeck, so maybe I will. So that's the blanket. It is based on the Knitted Patchwork Recipe by Martine Ellis and the Memory Blanket by Georgie Nicholson. And I am claiming this as my project for the Travel the World by Design Cal, because Georgie Nicholson is Australian. I don't have time to cast on anything new. Not and finish it before the end of the Cal anyway. So that's my blanket, and it is being done on 2.75 millimeters, which is a US 2. So since the cat peed on the project bag, you'll remember that the project bag is where I keep my minis. Fortunately, I keep all my minis in Ziploc bags. So they were in all these little Ziploc bags inside the project bag, so they're fine. This is literally all my minis. This is all of them. And they actually fit in this gallon bag. I had to squish it to get it to shut, but that's them. And the only other thing, actually pretty much the only thing I've been knitting on, because I think I put those 2 squares on. One of them was last week, and one of them was on Sunday. The only thing I've been knitting on is this. When I've had the energy to knit, I've been knitting on my Find Your Fade. And I haven't gotten a ton done. Where the orange stitch marker here is where I was last week. So all I got done was section, I think it's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 maybe? Section 6? I don't know. I've got the pattern right here. Duh. Good podcaster. Oy. Here is the pattern, and unfortunately I have it in black and white, and I only have the pattern part, I don't have the pictures. So I just finished section 5, and I'm about to start section 6. And my screen just turned off. That was weird. Section 5, and I'm about to start section 6, and then I add color 4. It's so exciting. So that is my Find Your Fade by Andrea Mowry, who is Drea Renee Knits. Maybe it's Andrea Mowry, I don't know. It's a beautiful, beautiful pattern. It is paid for pattern, and it is so easy. So easy. I have not, like, I have to look at the pattern to see what happens when the sections change. That's it. It's the only time I need to look at the pattern. It is very, very intuitive, very user-friendly. I mean, this is mindless knitting. It's mostly garter stitch, so yeah, mindless knitting. The first section here is, I have it all written down. I have show notes. See? Show notes. Which is unusual for me. The first color is the Cyborgs Craft Room, a sparkleite base in the color Soulless. I did not make minis out of this color because the rest of this is going to my friend Brandy. Sadly, I didn't make it to the post office this week because bleh. The second color, all this part here, this is Cattail Knits Brucey Sock Silver base in the Stunning Suki colorway. And this part up here, this beautiful, oh, I love this stuff. It's such a beautiful colorway. This was bought for me by my friend Brandy. And boy, does she know me. It's based on the Van Gogh Sunflowers painting. But it's also part of the Doctor Who fandom. There was a Van Gogh episode, and the color work is called For Amy. It's Lady Pearl Sock yarn in Amy, For Amy. And, oh, I just love this colorway. It's so squishy. I did wind the rest of the cattail knits into minis, and I have a big bag of them because there was quite a bit left over. So that's what that's been doing, and that doesn't live in a project bag anymore because I only work on it here, and it's the number of skeins that are going into it have sort of outgrown most of my project bags, so it doesn't really live in anything right now. It just kind of sits on my dining room table because I knit sitting here, and it is done on a 3.75 millimeter, which is a US 5. So that's all I've been working on. That's all I've done. I'm really boring, as you can see. Mr. Moustache is holding the rest of the ball. And I have no stash. None. Although I have been going through my stash. And my stash keeps increasing. As much as I knit, my stash keeps getting bigger. It is smaller than it was at the beginning of the year, just because I destashed some stuff at Holly's a few weeks ago. But yeah, stuff keeps coming in. Haven't bought any, I think, since Rhinebeck. Stuff keeps coming in. So moving right along, I wanted to talk about our 2017 Travel the World by Design Cal. Now, I was not sure how to pronounce this, so I looked it up. Do you think I could find a consensus? I'm going to pronounce it Oceania or Oceania. I don't care. I have heard Oceania, 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 Oceania. And these were all pronunciation guides. I went to Merriam-Webster.com to see how Americans pronounce it. There was a British person doing the pronunciation guide. I don't know. So I want to know, I want you guys to comment in the YouTube thread or in the Ravelry thread. Tell me how you pronounce that word. Oceania or Oceania or what. Tell me how you pronounce it, because I don't know. Basically, that means the continent encompassing Australia, New Zealand, Tasmania, and all the Polynesian islands, and Indonesia, and is it Indonesia or is it? I don't know if the Philippines is. There's about 100 little islands above Australia that are included, And I don't know all of them. So we have 27 foes in the faux thread right now, which is really impressive. I'm very impressed. There are some gorgeous, gorgeous patterns in there. I'm just going to give you a rundown of the designers that are featured in the faux thread. Felicia Semple is one of them. Claire Devine accounts for about half of them. Apparently her hats are very, very popular. Tash Barneveld is another designer. Jessica Gore, Kelly Kingston, Brenda Green, Suzanne Smart, Georgie Nicholson, which is why I get to claim to like it. Amy Miller, Barb Bowman, Leonie Thornley, Rhiannon McCulloch, Thayer Priest Parker, Amba O'Brien, who is the designer Selma went with, having trouble today. Jolene Lai, Sally Oakley, Amy Vandelar, and Jennifer Lau are the ones that are featured in the faux thread so far. Somebody had accidentally posted their Brown Bag Sock Club faux in there. I have since deleted it. Thank you to the person who reported it. So we're about halfway through because we're going till the end of March. So you still have lots of time if you're not me. Because I'm also winter camping, so it's tricky for me to work with both. I've also had a real drop in my knitting productivity the last couple of weeks, so I may cast on something small by another Australian designer, but for now I'm gonna go with the blanket. Clearly, it will not be finished by the end of the cal on March 31st. I completely lost what months were there for a second. So that's what's been going on with that cal, and I really look forward to seeing the rest of your foes. For the Brown Bag Sock Club, we have 96 foes right now. I am amazed. Some of you put out socks. Like, do you sleep? We have Mina's in our group. I mean, that's a reference to the Knitting Expat podcast. Mina knits socks very, very quickly. I think she produced something like 96 pairs last year. Something like that. It was an insane number of socks. And they're not all hers, but the woman has a lot of hand knit socks. So some of you are very prolific. That said, I would like to remind you that the rules state that each person is only permitted 3 posts per quarter. So you're only allowed to post 3 times. If you finish 4 pairs of socks, great. Put 2 in the 3rd post. If you finish 5 pairs of socks, fine. Put 3 in the 3rd post. I have gone through and deleted some threads this morning because we had some people with 4 and 5 posts. I'm tempted to say that in future, if we go to pick prizes and you have 4 or 5 posts, we're just going to disqualify you. But I'm on my own right now, and I'm not going to make that decision without the other 2. So please be careful, because we're all adults here, and we don't want to have to police your posts, basically. I have been watching some podcasts this week. I know people are going, who know me are going, oh, Lynn watched podcasts. Yes, Lynn did. I actually discovered a new podcast this week. It has 1 episode, and it is fabulous. It popped up on my suggested videos thread and on YouTube, and I really, really enjoyed it. It is the Dunkelgrün podcast. I think I pronounced that properly, but with Anna. She is an Austrian living in Switzerland, and her podcast is fantastic. Her knitting is phenomenal. She is super pro. I don't think I've ever knit anything as attractive as the things she was showing. She is kind of amazing. So I very, very much enjoyed that podcast. And I've also been watching for a few months now, and I keep forgetting to mention them. If any of you listen to the Knitting Pipeline with Paula, once a month, Paula puts out a video podcast called the Knitting Pipeline Extras. And they're super fun. She shows her quilts, she shows her knitting, she shows her tools, she shows her stash, and it's hanging out with Paula. I don't know how many of you have ever actually met Paula, but she is fantastic. She is so much fun to hang around with. And she's just a genuinely really, really lovely person. And I adore Paula. She is Prairie Piper on Ravelry. And she's just a really, really awesome person. I love hanging out with her. And I only get to do it at Stitches. Because I see her at Stitches every year. But yeah, she's fabulous. And these little extras are so much more fun to me than the audio podcast. I don't really listen to audio podcasts. I do check hers and Boston Jen's out once in a while, the Down Cellar Studio podcast, because I know them. But the audio format doesn't appeal to me because I want to see what's going on. So Jen, we want to see your knitting. I've also been watching Knit Girls, Storm Coast. That's not her podcast. That's her name. Jen, the Uncreative Crafter podcast. I'm sorry. She is Storm Coast on Instagram and Ravelry, but her podcast is the Uncreative Crafter. If you like cats, watch her podcast. Her cat is hilarious. She gets right up into the camera, like right here. And it's really funny to watch her argue with the cat. I've been watching Sarah Nova Crafts, who is my friend Jessica, and her podcast is usually pretty short and sweet. It's usually under 20 minutes, and she's very entertaining, and I really like her knitting. So Jess is worth checking out. I've been watching the Canadian Knitter podcast, of course, because who doesn't watch Sarah? And I've been watching the Mandy Pinecone Crafts podcast, which I personally, Mandy, think that you should be renaming to the Princess Mandy podcast. And speaking of Princess Mandy, I found something. Oops, I just lost my bottle cap. Princess Mandy, I found your stitch markers. I bought these in October, I think. Yeah, I bought them just before Rob and I went down to Vermont in November. So at end of October, early November is when I bought them. And I bought this set for Mandy. And I bought this set for Michael, who is the Gay Knitter podcast, or Yellow ZX5 on YouTube, on Ravelry. These are from my friend Sarah, who is Rabbit Ribbit Lamb on Etsy. I just love her stitch markers. And so I bought a set for each of them and lost them promptly, like immediately. Lost them. I found them, and I will be sending them out to you soon. Or, I'll come visit. One of the two. Because she's only 3.5 hours away from me, so it's a pretty easy visit. Since I know Sue will wonder, I am drinking tea. That's my mug that she covets and she can't have. My dad gave me this, actually. It was my dad's cup. And I was like, where did you get that? And he was like, you can have it. Okay. I am drinking my absolute favorite tea. I literally just ordered 3 boxes of this from David's. And it's on sale right now, so go get some. This is called Me to We. And this tea is used to raise funds to provide clean water to communities. I believe it's only third world communities, like it's not within the United States or anything, but it does provide clean water to third world communities. And I love this tea. It is so good. I'll just read you the ingredients list because there's everything but the kitchen sink in this stuff. Apple, pineapple, hibiscus, fig, pink peppercorns, cranberry, corn flour, stevia, which surprises me because I usually don't like stevia, but there can't be much. Natural raspberry, cherry, and passion fruit flavoring. There's everything in this, and it is so good. If you don't like fruity teas, you're not going to like it, but it is delicious, and I really, really love it, and the fact that it helps people out, bonus. little side of morality with your tea. Not much else has been going on this week. I did not get the job. For everybody who was, I got a lot of messages on YouTube that I really, really appreciated. There were a lot of comments in the Ravelry group. I got a lot of PMs. I really, really appreciate it, guys. It didn't work out. I still have a couple of possibilities. I'm going to be writing some exams where I was working before Christmas, where Sue and Selma also work, because apparently a manager has expressed interest in hiring me from the pool that I'm in an administrative pool where they can hire people from. I've pre-qualified. So I have to go write some exams because apparently somebody has expressed interest in hiring me from the pool. So they're easy exams. I know I've written at least one of them before. They can't find my results for some reason, but they may have expired. So I do have possibilities. All is not lost. I'm a little depressed. I did the interview on Tuesday, and it was really funny because I woke up Tuesday morning from a nightmare that I had slept through the interview and didn't realize it till 2 hours later. And so I woke up freaking out, and it was Snowmageddon on Tuesday. The whole city was a shambles because we had gotten something like 12 inches of snow. And, that doesn't stop us from going to work or going shopping or going out at all. But it does make it really hard to get around. And it's very hard to get anywhere on time. So I had to drive my ex to a training class he was taking in the city because it would have taken him too long to take the bus there. And I figured, you know what? I'm not going to go home. Because my interview wasn't until 11. I drove from there at 9. I was like, I'm not going to go home. I'm just going to go have breakfast and then come back and park downtown and go to my interview. Yeah. I got back to downtown at 10:15. I drove around for more than 40 minutes looking for parking. All the garages were full. All the parking garages downtown, they were all full. There was no street parking because of the snow. So, of course, people who would normally have parked on the street were filling up the garages. I finally ended up parking about 8 blocks away, which is a considerable distance to walk in heels. I'm not going to show you my feet because it's gross, but I have bloody blisters that are still healing all over my feet. I don't wear heels as a general rule, and now I am determined that I will never wear them again. I don't do well in heels. But I had to hoof it, and I knew I wasn't going to make it on time. I had 10 minutes to walk 8 blocks, and I was like, that's not going to happen. I flagged a cab. I took a cab from where I parked to where the interview was, and just barely squeaked in by the skin of my teeth on time. So I was already flustered and stressed out, and I'm sweaty, and I was not my best during that interview. So I'm a little frustrated, but it happens, and I'm still hopeful that something will happen soon. So in the meantime, there are no festivals for me. Nope. So Sue and Selma will be attending Knitters Frolic in Toronto in April. They're very excited about that. And Selma is going to the very soon upcoming Edinburgh Fiber Festival, and she is over the moon about that. I'm very excited for her because I know know some of the cool people she's going to get to hang out with. Our friend Shamika from the Mika Knit Night podcast, or Knit Night with Mika, sorry, will be at the Podcaster Lounge. Apparently there's a Podcaster Lounge, which sounds way fancier than meeting on the hill at Rhinebeck. And so I know Selma is planning on being at the Podcaster Lounge at least part of the weekend. So you will probably get to see her there. Now to stop waffling about random things, our coupon codes, because I'm pretty much tapped out, and I'm sure you guys have other things to do with your Saturday. So Fondant Fiber still has a 10% off coupon code until February 28th, and the coupon code is MORE STASH, all one word. Geektastic Fibers, who is our lovely friend Amanda from Australia. Sorry, no, Germany. I'll get there eventually. Germany. I was confusing her in my head with Emma from Australia. Has a 15% off coupon code until December 31st. That's a really long coupon code, and it's the number 2 and the word Tangled. Bags by Awesome Granny has a 10% ongoing coupon code, the number 2TS10. Really, George? There's a cat between my legs. What? Go away. It's not the one that sits up here. It's the one who made the mess in the kitchen this morning. And who peed on my project bag, so she's on my list. Six Munchkin Stitching has a 10% coupon code, also in perpetuity. The word 2, Tangled, and the numbers 10. The Tangled Skeins CA, Sue has a new coupon code for you guys. It is 20% off until the end of February. And the code is WinterBlues20. So if you want to cheer Sue up a little bit, help her out and buy something from her shop. She's not having a very good February. She's a little discouraged by winter, I think. Anyway, that's all I have to blather on about, and I'm sure you're tired of listening to me talk by now. It's not quite as much fun without my partners in crime. So I will wish you all a very good weekend, and see you next week. Bye!